Hi friends, my name is Kumar Gaurav. I work with State Bank of India. At the same time, since I have a hobby of teaching, I teach at TICS, the Institute of Civil Services at YMCA Building, College Street. Since I am the faculty of English, I would like to cover some of the topics of grammar today, which comes in banking examination, SSC, CGL examination and other competitive one-day examination. At first, I would like to start with the syllabus. Please look at the board. Okay, friends, here is the syllabus. The first topic from where majority of the questions are asked is error of proximity. Error of proximity, and it is covered under the chapter subject verb agreement. So whenever you are reading subject verb agreement, don't forget to give much attention on the topic subject verb error of proximity. Now, what is the meaning of the word proximity? Proximity means nearness or neighborhood. So, this is as good as error of nearness. This is very important. Earlier, many direct questions were asked, but nowadays, questions are a bit twisted and asked. So, always pay attention that under the chapter subject verb agreement we will have to focus on error of proximity, and today I will deal with it. Second, the most important topic is that eclipses in preposition. Eclipses in preposition. This is very important under the heading preposition. Alright, you may read the preposition chapter as a whole, but always pay much attention or be very vigilant about the chapter, the subtopic rather, eclipses in preposition. We will discuss in our following classes what is eclipses in preposition, or what eclipses in preposition, what it wants to say. Alright, comes to the third topic. This is called rule of inversion, which is covered under, or which will be covered under the chapter called conjunction. So you must have a very good idea about the concept of conjunction, no doubt about it, but you must also be paying attention on rule of inversion. Next comes is your rule of antecedent. Rule of antecedent, rule of 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, etc. under the topic pronoun. Alright. So friends, you are saying that today I have told you the syllabus, the important syllabus for the grammar, that is, first is error of proximity, second is eclipses in preposition, third is rule of inversion, fourth is your rule of antecedent. These are very important from the examination point of view. However, apart from these topics, you can also pay attention on some other topics, and they are number 5 is your rule of apostrophe. Rule of apostrophe, countable and uncountable nouns. Rule of apostrophe, countable and uncountable nouns under the chapter which is called noun. Other than that, leaving these 5 topics, there are a few more topics which are also important, like they are miscellaneous topic, like they are some concept of active and passive voice, which The moment I will be covering active and passive voice, I will be giving you the total idea about the chapter verb, both finite and non-finite verbs. Alright. Now, next is the concept of narration is required. And other than that, rule of comparison is required, which will be covered under the topic called adjective. Okay, and other than that, there are two items which are very new, which are newly introduced in the syllabus, and they are rule of parallelism, that is parallel structure. So this is number 9 is your parallel structure. And number 10 is your superfluous expressions. And number 10 is your superfluous expressions. So these are the very 10 topics, out of which the first 5 which I have discussed are very important, and rest 5 is also important but not important as the first 5 holds. Okay. Now let's see, friends, that the first topic which I wrote on the board is your error of proximity. Before understanding the error of proximity, we will have to understand the nitties and gritties of the chapter subject verb agreement. As we see in subject verb agreement, there are two players. One is subject, another is verb, and obviously this word, that is agreement, has got to have a connection with these two also. Now look, try to make it very simple by just understanding it. Look friends, at first we will have to know that a subject will agree with a verb on what conditions. So there are two conditions. Number 1 is your number, and number 2 is your person. Very simple, that a subject agrees with its verb in number as well as person. What do we mean by number? Number means singular or plural. Person means first person, second person and third person. First person, second person and third person. When we talk about first person, this is the speaker one, I, we. Second person, the listener one, you. And the third person about whom we are talking about, he, she, it and they. Alright. Now they say that there has to be an agreement. When we talk about agreement, friends, we do agreement with our friends, with our buddies, or even with our peer groups. Right or wrong? So when we do agreement, there are certain conditions that we put on each other. Right? Like if I say, if it rains, I will prepare pakoras means what? There is a condition that obviously I will prepare pakora if it rains. If it does not rain, I will not prepare pakora. So agreement is between the rain and the pakoras. So similarly, preparing pakoras, right? So similarly, a subject has to do an agreement or make an agreement with the verb. So I do it. I have made two symbols. One is this juju and another is this juju. So this is subject, this is verb. So once they went to have a cup of coffee together, and there they made a plan that if I am single, you will also be single. Means what? If I am singular, subject says, if I am singular, you will have to be singular, and if you are plural, you can also be plural. Number one. So the first condition of subject verb agreement is that if the subject is singular, verb is also singular. If the subject is singular, verb is also singular, and if the subject is plural, the verb is also plural. So the first basis of the agreement was if the subject is singular, the verb is also singular, and if the subject is plural, the verb is also plural. Now, second thing that we will have to understand is that what do we mean by singularity as well as plurality of a verb or a subject? Is it same for both of them, or is it different for both of them? Now look, see, subject can be, take an example of a subject like mango. The plural of mango is mangoes. But if you take the example of verb, it is just reverse in this case. In case of verb, when you add s or es, this becomes singular and this becomes plural. But in case of noun, without s or es, it becomes singular, and with s or es, it becomes what? Plural. So always remember the key concept, that it is when we put s or es into a subject, obviously a noun, then it is becoming plural. But when we put s or es to a verb, then obviously it is becoming singular, which I have written on the board. So the first concept or the basis of subject verb agreement is that if the subject is singular, the verb is also singular, and if the subject is plural, verb is also plural. Understand it by some common examples. See, if I say, she goes to the market, she goes to the market, she goes to the market. If I say, now listen, she is singular, obviously. The moment you say she loves me, means obviously you are talking about single girl, not the entire neighborhood, right? So when you say she goes to the market, so she is singular, but this is subject. Okay? But when we talk about the word goes, this is verb. So when you have put s or es to this verb, it has also become singular. That is why you say that this sentence is correct. Means subject is singular as well as verb is singular. Means what? If you add s or es, please note it down or keep it in your mind. If you add s or es to the subject, it becomes plural. But if you add s or es to the verb, it becomes singular. Just opposite to each other. Alright. Now see. Now convert this C into they. They go to the market. They go to the market. The moment you say they go to the market, just look at the board. They is your plural. You know, this two figure will represent plurality, and this go, it is without s or es. Means in verb you don't have s or es. That is why this go is plural. Alright. So they go to the market. That is why it is right. Alright. So you have well understood what is singular and what is plural. Alright. When you add, again I am repeating it up. When you add s or es to the subject, it becomes plural. But when you add s or es to the verb, it becomes what? Singular. Right. Now, do one thing. So the first basis of the agreement, that when subject is singular, verb is also singular. When subject is plural, verb is also plural. It is only not following with the first person singular number, that is I. Often we say, in every movie or everywhere you say, you see or say, right? I love you. So in that case you see, I is singular, but verb without s or es. Just now we have read that this is plural. Alright, here we have read that verb without s or es is plural. So that is why love without s or es is what? Plural ho gaya. So this is also here. I is singular but the verb is plural. So only remember the exception is only with I, that is first person singular number. Otherwise everywhere the rule is if the subject is singular, the verb will be singular, and if the subject is plural, the verb will be plural. Alright, now it is in the case of if the subject is alone, all alone, like he, she, Ram, Syam, Mohan, like that. But what in the case of if I say Ram and Syam? If I say Ram, Syam and Mohan, if I say neither Ram nor Syam, if I say either Raju or Badama, so in that case what should be the rule applied? Just remember one concept more you will have to understand, that subject is of how many types? We will be discussing subject is of 3 types only for our competitive examination. The first is when 2 subjects or more than 2 are connected by and the subject may be dependent or independent. We will discuss the difference between these two, dependent and independent. But if you connect 2 subjects by anything other than and, neither nor, either or, just see the trick. If you connect the 2 subjects by and, neither nor or either or, we will discuss it later what it is called, then in that case the first subject is called primary subject and the second subject is called secondary subject. Alright, and if the third is called inverted subject, what is that? There was a king. बचपन में हम लोग पढ़ते थे once upon a time there was a king, और अगला लाइन होता था he had 4 wives, right? For less than 4 they did not do, they were polygamist. So inverted subject, in that case see, this is a king is subject, but this verb is preceding the subject. So when in the case a verb is preceded by a subject means when before any subject verb comes. When before any subject verb comes, it is called inverted subject. Alright, now see. If 2 subjects are joined by and, the subjects can be dependent or independent. If 2 subjects are joined by anything other than and, tell me, neither nor or either or, they may be primary subject and secondary subject, and the inverted subject condition arises when the verb comes just before the subject, means it is the verb which is coming before the subject, right? So this is called inverted subject, and from these only concept majority of the questions are asked from subject verb agreement, rest all are mechanical, right? So see friends, and if you talk about and, see Ram and Syam, at first take very simple example. Ram and Syam are friends. So obviously here Ram is not dependent on Syam to become friends. Alright. So here Ram is independent subject and Syam is also independent subject. In this case you just add Ram 1 and means plus, Syam 1, 1 plus 1 coming 2, which is becoming plural, and this verb is also becoming what? Tell me, plural. And this friends is also plural, so this sentence is right. But just imagine if I say bread and butter is my breakfast. If I say this, that bread and butter is my breakfast, so obviously for becoming the breakfast, bread and butter are necessary together, right? You just cannot afford to eat bread first and after that start licking the butter, right? If you are not a mad person, if you are a common human being, all right? So here these two, bread dependent and butter is also what? Dependent. So this dependent subjects, when they are connected by and, means क्या? 1 plus 1, ये क्या बन जा रहा है बेटा? 1 ही बन रहा है. Means rule is when two dependent subjects, singular dependent subjects are joined by and, the subject remains singular. But if two independent subjects are joined by and, subject becomes what? Plural. So if the subject is singular, the word will be singular, and if the subject is plural, the word will also be plural. We will make you understand with the help of some examples, or we will make you practice. Alright. Now see, but what in case of primary subject and secondary subject? Let me tell you frankly. Now I am rubbing this off. So I tell you, in case of primary and secondary subject, if two subjects are connected by anything other than and, neither nor or either or, alright. Now see, he along with his friends, he along with his friends is interested to dance. He along with his friends is interested to dance. Just see here, this is one subject, this is conjunction, and his friends is another subject. And obviously it is not and or neither nor or either or, so in that case he becomes your primary subject and his friends becomes your secondary subject. Alright, so in that case the agreement will always be done with primary subject, and since primary subject is singular, this is also singular. So now this sentence is right. If you want to make it wrong, you just write here are, because his friends plural है, तो इसीलिए आर यहाँ पे लगा सकते हैं, जो कि प्लूरल है, जो कि ये की गलत हो गया, बिकॉज आपने बगल वाले सब्जेक्ट के साथ एग्रीमेंट कर लिया, जबकि you should have made an agreement with the primary subject. Alright, so that is why it is called, earlier I told you about error, it is an error, and that is why it is called error of proximity. Error of proximity. Proximity again is nearness. So here you see this verb has come near to this subject, but basically it is the primary subject which is important, not the secondary subject. So always remember, in case of dependent subject or independent subject, both of them are subject, but in case of primary subject and secondary subject, primary subject is important. Which subject? Primary. Alright, so you will have to listen to the primary subject. Take some more examples, it will make your concept clear. See, if I say that the king with his courtiers, the king with his courtiers, courtiers, have arrived. The king with his courtiers have arrived. See, in that case also, this is your primary subject, PS I say, and this is his courtiers. This is called secondary subject, and since the king is the primary subject, this is wrong. This is again called EOP, that is error of proximity. This verb has to make an agreement with the primary subject, and that is why this have is wrong. So this is very much asked in the examination. The questions might be quite lengthy. Take an example, the romanticism of art as well as literature. The romanticism of art as well as literature in life has not been without some effect. If I say that you just check whether this sentence is right on the basis of subject-verb agreement or not, you just remember this, the romanticism is the subject. This is our primary subject. Rest, art as well as literature, etc., in life, etc., we don't have any concern about this topic, about these lines rather, sorry. So obviously the subject is romanticism, and this has been put due to this subject because this is singular and this has is also singular. Just remember, has is singular, have is plural. Is, am is singular, are is plural. So this was all about error of proximity. However, there are certain portions which are left in subject-verb agreement. When I come with the second chapter, second portion, section 2 of subject-verb agreement, we will discuss the other rules also, and which can be summarized easily in 10 to 15 minutes lecture. Alright, so hope you have understood the very concept of subject-verb agreement. Okay, thank you so much.